Welcome to Tina's Joyful Kitchen. I'm Tina McDermott, and I'm the Lazy Inspirational Chef. And I'll tell you, I've been doing this for 21 years, and there's no place that I'd rather be than right here, right now, with you, teaching you how you can find joy in the kitchen. Even if you don't know how to cook or like to cook or find time to cook, I'm going to give you all those shortcuts so you can live a life that's full of health, vibrancy, and free. Free from those diets, free from disease, free from all of that stuff. All right, you ready? Let's get the party started. On today's show, we're going to make tuna burgers, but they're better than tuna burgers. They're lemon Dijon tuna burgers with this scrumptious olive tapenade, an olive tapenade to go on top of it. And then we're going to make this baked broccoli with pepitas. And I'm going to make baked broccoli super easy for you so that you make this on a normal basis. All right, let's get started. We're going to start with the baked broccoli because that's going to take a little bit of time to cook. And my wonderful assistant cut up all of my broccoli into little florets for us. Let me talk about broccoli. Broccoli is probably the most eaten vegetable in America. It's the number one vegetable in my household. My husband loves broccoli, and it's full of fiber and vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients that are really, really good for your entire body, every single cell in your body, especially chlorophyll, which is very detoxing. And remember, we need 10 to 12 cups of vegetables a day, so the more the merrier. All right, so with broccoli, people tend to throw these stems away, but did you know that this is the sweetest part of the broccoli? It is sweet and it is wonderful. So I'm just gonna cut the little piece off and we're gonna put that right into the compost. Why? Because Mother Nature knows what to do with it. Mother Nature knows what to do with it. We're gonna get our knife and I'm gonna cut the broccoli pieces off like so. I'm just gonna cut down and cut those little florets, those little flowers, little trees. My husband calls them little trees. The little trees, and just break them off. Break them off. If you don't want to break them off, you could always get a little paring knife and break them off this way. But when we get to the heart, you're like, oh, you don't, paring knife can't do that. Just chop it in half with your knife. But otherwise, you end up with these beautiful little florets, right? These beautiful little florets. Now we've got the stem. Remember I told you the stem is full, it's very, very, very sweet. You know when you get this broccoli slaw from the stores, those are all the stems. And you see what I'm doing? I'm peeling off the outer layer. You don't have to peel off the outer layer. You can simply chop this in smaller pieces and throw it into a saute. You can steam it. And it's wonderful. I actually really love to eat this raw, or I can throw it right into this baked mix. But I like it, if I'm going to bake it, I take the outer layer off. It's very fibery, it's very fibrous, and it's difficult to chew, it's difficult to break down in a bake. If it's in a steam or in a stir fry, it will break down a little bit better. So there we have it. We have all of our beautiful broccoli florets and stems. Remember the stems. And I'm going to add them to my stoneware casserole dish. You can do this in a tray, but I don't think the lip is big enough for what I'm going to do in the way that I'm going to make it, because I'm going to mix everything right in here and it might get a little bit messy. So here we go. I'm going to throw everything right in there. And some people would say, okay, put all the dressing in a bowl, mix it up, and then put it in. But I'm lazy. I don't have time for that. I don't want to wash all of these bowls and have oil everywhere. I mean, this is easy to clean up. It only had broccoli in it, right? So put all the broccoli in here, and I'm going to put the dressing right on top of this. So this dressing is going to take a little bit of lemon juice. How do you get more lemon out of a lemon? How do you get more juice out of a lemon? You roll it on the countertop. I saw my assistant doing this earlier and I'm like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You're rolling it on the countertop because that's what you need to do. So roll it and it helps get the juice out. And you can simply squeeze it through your fingers and catch the seeds, but some people have holes in their fingers and the seeds go through. And the seeds are a little bitter. So if they end up in your food, you might not appreciate having to bite into a seed or a roasted seed. By the way, I turned the oven on to 400 degrees. You want to get the oven nice and hot because heat is where it's at, okay? So let's see how much lemon juice I want for this. By the way, this lemon, throw it in your sink and clean your sink with it later. That will disinfect your sink, or just put it right in the compost, okay? Let's get the whole lemon going here. Yeah, I use disinfectant in my house, but I oftentimes use lemons, and it helps to clean the garbage disposal as well. Okay, before I put the lemon juice on, I want to put all the other ingredients that I want. Always put the salt and the pepper on first. Remember, sea salt, full of minerals, and use your fingers to feel how much salt you want in a dish, okay? So there we go, and I had a little bit too much, so I put it back, right? And you can't do that if you had it on a spoon. That's why I don't use the spoon. We're gonna get some freshly ground black pepper. Why not? I say this all the time, and I want to remind you, salt enhances the flavor of food, pepper alters the flavor of food. Why freshly ground black pepper? Because the flavor profile is 20 times that of already ground black pepper, okay? And experiment also with peppercorns when you buy them. Don't always buy black ones. Get the white ones, get the red ones, mix them all up, put them in your pepper grinder. This costs like 10 bucks. It is such a difference, and you want your whole family to rave about your cooking. Freshly ground black pepper is one of my tricks. That's one of my tricks. Next, we're going to put a little bit of, I'm going to wait on the coconut oil. Freshly chopped garlic. My assistant is wonderful, and she chopped up some beautiful garlic for me. For us, I should say. The more the merrier. I want you to remember garlic is antiviral, antibacterial, antimicrobial. Your antibiotic right from Mother Nature. Right from Mother Nature. There it is, right in your garlic, okay? It's always sitting out on my counter because along with the salt, the pepper, the olive oil, the vinegars, garlic, along with my garlic press. Always sits out because we use it every single day. And I implore you to add that to your life, to have it on a norm and not the powdered stuff. Yeah, it's okay to use the powdered if you're doing a rub, but I'll tell you, when you use freshly chopped garlic, it's the same idea as the freshly ground black pepper. It's fresher, and I promise you, all of your family and friends are gonna rave about your cooking, okay? So next, what we're gonna do, I got some pepitas. Pepitas are pumpkin seeds. They call them pepitas. I don't know why they don't call them pumpkin seeds. But pepitas are full of course, vitamins and minerals and fat, really good fat. Believe it or not, it's really good for the man's prostate, for a man. So if you are a male, make sure you add some pepitas or pumpkin seeds to your life. Also full of some protein. So this dish will become a complete protein, the broccoli and the pepitas all together. And yes, we're just gonna roast them all together. I have some red pepper flakes. We can add a little bit of red pepper flakes or not. You don't have to add them. Remember, inspirational, lazy chef. Inspirational, I want you to be inspired to use whatever flavors you love, okay? Not what I love, but what you love. Salt and pepper is kind of a staple in my house. Now that we've got the salt and the pepper on here, instead of mixing it up in a bowl, I put the seasonings on first, and then I'm gonna put the liquid. Okay, then I'm gonna put the liquid, and the liquid is gonna draw the salt and pepper down, right? So here we go. I'm gonna put a little bit of that lemon juice in there. I'm not gonna put the whole thing because I need this for my tuna burgers, okay? I could squeeze more. You know what, let's put the whole thing. We'll squeeze more. We'll squeeze more because it's really easy to squeeze. So we've got all of that. And now you can either use coconut oil or olive oil on this. Coconut oil is antiviral, antibacterial, antimicrobial, just like the garlic. So you get a powerhouse of all of that. But sometimes you don't want coconut oil, you maybe want some olive oil, right? But this is going up to 400 degrees in the oven, and it will destroy the good properties of the olive oil. So I'm going to use coconut oil so it will stand up to the high heat. It's a couple of tablespoons, and I'm not very good at measuring. Not very good at measuring, but I'm very good at pouring on. And I'm not afraid of fat. I should make a t-shirt that says, fat is your friend, but the good kinds of fat, like the olive oils, the avocado oils, the grapeseed oils, and the coconut oils. Really good fats for you, okay? So you see how I just drizzled that on, didn't make a big fuss of it, and I'm not even gonna mix it up. Now, here's what I wanna tell you. I'm using stoneware. You see here it looks really brown. I've had this for almost 20 years. It was on my bridal registry from 18 years ago now. And it's very well seasoned. I love stoneware because it makes me feel close to Mother Nature. I know that sounds corny, but hey, I'm corny, whatever. Also, it cooks very evenly and it's very well seasoned, so it's nonstick. For the most part, it's nonstick. When I wash it, I just have this plastic scraper with hot water. You scrape all the goodies out, and I could make cookies in this tomorrow if I wanted to. Seriously, and it makes wonderful bacon, it makes wonderful cookies. All right, off to the oven for about 30 minutes. Let this crisp up and we'll check it in 30 minutes. I'll be right back and we'll make those tuna burgers. All right, you ready? We're gonna make ourselves some tuna burgers. I love tuna burgers because who doesn't have a can of tuna fish in their pantry? Most people always have cans of tuna fish. And you know, you might not be able to get back from the store in time. You might have been away for the weekend and you need dinner quick on the table. Open up a couple cans of tuna fish and you'll be good to go. I'm going to show you the kind of tuna fish that I'm using today that I really like. Actually, the one that I love comes from Italy and it's really difficult to get. It's called Rio Mare. That one's absolutely delicious. I try to go for the pole caught tuna. It's more sustainable, and I'm going to turn this one upside down. This one's Sustainable Seas chunk-like tuna, no salt added, and this one's in water. I tend to like to get them in water or olive oil because I will use the olive oil right in my my dish. Okay, so that's that, and I got 2 cans of that. Put that right into our mixing bowl. It's funny, in my directions for this, in my directions I said to make the dressing in a separate bowl. I'm like, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? I'm lazy. Let's put it all in one bowl, right? Let's put it all in one bowl. So we got the tuna fish in there. Next, we're gonna do some green onions. Oh, I just love my assistant. She cut up all of these. Maybe we can pull out some green onions and I can show you some beautiful green onions. But she sliced them all up for us. And some people just use the green. Some people just use the whites. I use the whole green onion. And if you really like green onions, like I love green onions, you can put more in there. You don't have to do just the amount that the recipe calls for, okay? Use your imagination, use what you love, and that's good enough. Oh, look how beautiful. I bought these from the store the other day, and I'm like, and I already had some in the fridge, but they were kind of like a week old. And I saw these and I said, oh, I have to buy them because they're so pretty. So I'm just gonna set these on the countertop so you can enjoy how pretty those green onions are. Remember, use the whole thing except for that little piece on the bottom. By the way, if you cut it up to here and put some toothpicks in it and put it in water, you can grow more green onions. Right on your countertop, make more green onions. We're gonna use 3 tablespoons of coconut flour. Coconut flour absorbs a lot of moisture, and in these burgers, we don't want them too wet. I normally use almond flour in a lot of my baking and in my cooking, and today, because the coconut flour absorbs more moisture, we're going to use the coconut flour. So we're going to do 3 tablespoons of some coconut flour. By the way, if you use almond flours and coconut flours, don't store them in the pantry. I store these in the freezer or the refrigerator because remember, it's got oils in it and it will go rancid, and you do not want that, okay? You don't want that. So that's the coconut flour. We're going to use about a 1/4 teaspoon of some freshly ground black pepper. And you know what? If you like black pepper, use more. You don't have to do a 1/4 tablespoon, or you can do whatever you want, okay? 1/2 teaspoon of some sea salt. Normally I use the sea salt, pick it up with my fingers, but in this case, I'm going to use my 1/2 teaspoon. It's a little easier. We're going to use some, my recipe says garlic powder, and I'm very remiss that it says garlic powder. I need to change that whole recipe out. And we're going to do some freshly pressed garlic right in our garlic press. Put a garlic clove right in there. Use your muscles. Use your muscles and get the garlic out. There we go. And it's okay if your fingers smell like garlic, because all you have to do is rub them on stainless steel and it will help to get the garlic smell off of your hands so you don't smell like garlic all the time. Okay, put that right in the compost. There we go. And what's next? We got oregano. I love oregano. My mom hates it. I don't know how I grew to love oregano, but I love oregano. And a word about spices. When you buy spices, I want you to buy spices that on the label it says oregano period. Or it can say oregano, basil, whatever, period. Not the word spices, not the word autolyzed yeast extract, not the word natural flavors, because all of those words simply mean MSG. There's 78 different words that MSG can be hidden under. And what MSG does, and it's an excitotoxin. It literally passes the blood-brain barrier, goes to the brain cells that are most susceptible, think children, think elderly, and excites them so much that they die. And we need our brain cells. We need as many brain cells as we can possibly hold on to. So make sure that you get your spices that just say the spice, okay, that just say the spice. We're gonna do 2 eggs. I'm just gonna put it right in here. I'm not gonna worry about doing this separately, not in the least, okay? Now, with my eggs, I wanna show you what I'm gonna do. I never crack them on the countertop. It just never works out well. You end up with too many big pieces of shell. I always crack them on the side of a bowl, right? Crack it on the side of the bowl and put it in a little cup. Never pour it right into your big recipe, because what if, like what just happened to me, I got a shell in there, okay? That's number 1. Number 2 is, how do you get a shell out of egg? I'm gonna give you a little kitchen hack. You get shell attracts shell. My shell, if I can get it in there properly, I couldn't get it with my finger, but here it is, shell attracts shell. I got the shell out. But then the second reason why you wanna crack it separately is, what if it's a bad egg? You can simply put the eggs in water and see which ones float. They're the bad ones, but who's gonna do that? Crack it separately, because if it's bad, you can throw it away and you won't have wasted all of your ingredients, right? And how do you know it's a bad egg? It'll smell, number 1. Number 2, it'll be super duper duper liquefied. And you're like, ooh, I think that's a bad egg. If you think it's a bad egg, it is, okay? Not that I encounter very many bad eggs in my life, but if you do, you'll know, and you'll definitely do what I just did, okay? We're gonna do Dijon mustard, and see if I can get a little spatula here. Put a little bit of Dijon mustard right in there. I love the pop of flavor that Dijon mustard gives to this dish. Lemon juice, so I need more lemon juice. I used it all for the other recipe. So how do we get more juice out of a lemon? You roll it. You roll it on the counter and you'll get a lot more juice. It'll be easier to juice. If you saw how easy it was to juice the other lemon, super easy to juice. Super easy. I think we need about 1 tablespoon, which is probably about, yeah, half a lemon. I don't want to make these too wet, right? I don't want to make them too wet, so I want to be careful about that. About a tablespoon of some really good olive oil. Always have olive oil in an Italian household. And in every American household, it's my wish that everyone has good olive oil in their house. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna mix all of this up. I'm gonna just get a handy dandy fork and just smash it through and mix it up. You can do it the way that it says that I put it in the recipe, and do the wet ingredient separate and whip it up and then put it in with the eggs, but why? While I'm doing that, I am going to turn on my my induction burner here. There we go. I was almost afraid it didn't want to turn on. Okay, and here we go. Okay, so that's on. I'm going to heat that up. I'm going to get that heated up. We're going to put a little bit more oil in there. Today I'm going to use a little bit of coconut oil as opposed to olive oil, because you know, it might go above 250, and above 250, no, it's actually 200 degrees, olive oil starts to degrade. So you really don't want to cook high heat with olive oil. 200 to 250. I can't remember the exact number, but that's okay. I'm human. I'm still mixing my eggs up into the tuna, and we're going to fry up these burgers. And while they're frying, we're going to make a tapenade. A tapenade dip or topping, whatever you want to call it. Here we go. Yep, the magic you can do with 1 fork. Okay, let's get some coconut oil right in my pan. Coconut oil can go up to 400 degrees if it is refined. If it's unrefined, I think it's 300 degrees. It's starting to get a little solidified, but that's okay. Oh, we're just running low. All right, here we go. Got the olive oil in the pan. The coconut oil in the pan. Now, I want to show you how it's, at first it was a little wet and now it's starting to dry up. And that's what we want, okay? That's what we want. We want it to be a little dry. Now we're going to use the most important tools in the kitchen. The best tools that we have in the kitchen, our hands. We're going to use our hands, and I'm just going to put some gloves on, and that's a kitchen hack. If you're dealing with stuff that you don't want to have to wash your hands and such, get the gloves out. Get the gloves out. Or even if you have kids, you're like, oh, I don't want to put my hands in the mess. Get some gloves, and it makes it really easy. Okay, get some gloves, and we're going to make up some burgers, and we're just going to cook them up a couple minutes on each side. All right, let's make some burgers here. Here we go. This should make, I'm not sure how many burgers this should make, but let's see. How big do you want your burgers? Do you want them slider size? Do you want them the size of your bun? We got smaller buns, so we're gonna make, I got some really good gluten-free buns, not from the freezer section today. So we're going to make them a little on the smaller side. Did you hear that sizzle? The oil is nice and hot, and we're going to make up our burgers here. Here we go. See how I just go from one to the other and I'm forming them using my hands, okay? Using all of my fingers, these beautiful tools that we were born with, these hands and these thumbs. And oh, they look good. They smell great. I probably would have put more onions in here. And you can use regular onions if you don't have green onions. If you went to the store and they're all out of green onions, which has happened to me a lot recently, use regular onions. Just chop them up small so that there's not huge pieces of onions popping out of your tuna burger. So you can come home after a long day and find a can of tuna fish, and you're like, I eat tuna for lunch. I don't want to eat it the normal way with mayonnaise. Make some burgers. Your family will love you. Super simple, super simple. This is not very difficult, right? Not rocket science. It's just putting a little love. I was asked, what do you think is the secret to good food? And that's love. Put love into your food, and it will shine through. The love will shine through. I promise you, the love will shine through. We got one more burger after this. Got to make a little room in the pan. By the way, I'm using a cast iron skillet. Just like with my stoneware, I really love cast iron skillets because it cooks evenly, and it's very well seasoned because I've seasoned it with oil and cooking. The more you cook on it, the more seasoned it is, the more non-stick it becomes, So we're gonna cook that for maybe about 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes each side. I don't know, let's just, remember, tuna's already cooked. We just need the egg to cook and make it into a burger to form the burger. So I'm gonna move this aside, and we are going to make that tapenade. I'll be right back. All right, let's make the tapenade. You ready? Tapenade is so easy to make. Get you some olives. Look, if you don't have these wonderful Kalamata olives, you can get a can of black olives. But if you have always eaten black olives your whole life and maybe, oh, I really don't like them that much, you can be like my husband. And when we went to Spain several years ago, he tried himself some Kalamata olives, and he goes, oh my God, what have I been missing all of these years? They're wonderful. So these are pitted, so the seeds are out of them. I drained the water out, and I'm going to put my Caponata olives right into my food processor. We're going to have some lemon juice. So we've got a couple of tablespoons of lemon juice in there. These are capers. Capers give that salty umami flavor, that flavor you just can't find anywhere else. If you don't have capers, you don't have to use them, and they are not in the olive family. I don't remember the exact family that capers are from, but they're not. I always thought that they were in the olive family, but they're not. We've got some freshly chopped garlic. Put some garlic in there. We need our garlic in our lives, and some chopped parsley. Make sure I've got everything. I probably need some freshly ground black pepper, of course. About 10 turns, maybe 20, it all depends. And we're going to do, I need a cup of parsley, and I don't know if that was a whole cup of parsley. So I'm gonna chop up some more parsley for us here, because this recipe takes a lot of parsley. And parsley, let me check those tuna burgers real quick. Yep, they're time for them to be turned. How do I know? I can smell it, and I could hear a little sizzle going on. And when I looked underneath, it was starting to turn a little black, it's supposed to be not black, it's supposed to be brownish. So let's just get these flipped over. Oh, those I put in afterwards, so that one didn't need to be flipped yet. I should check each and every one of them before I flip them. What's happening, I'm gonna tell you what's happening. You see the burner, that smaller circle? That's how much of the pan is getting heat, and it's not evenly distributing the heat all the way around. So my burgers towards the edge are not getting an even cook, but the one in the middle is getting an even cook. That's okay, just move them around as you're cooking. It's okay to just move them around as you're cooking. And if you end up flipping them more than once, that's okay. That's okay. The one in the center obviously is gonna cook before the rest. So I will flip that one or take that one out super duper soon. Not ready yet. Let's go back to our tapenade. I'm gonna get a whole bunch more parsley. By the way, kitchen tip, store your parsley in a little bit of water in a jar. And you can leave it on the counter for several days, or you can leave it in the refrigerator for a long time until it starts to wilt. Then make some pesto out of it. Why not? Why not? Okay. So let's talk about our parsley. Let's talk about our parsley. Some people will sit there and just pick the leaves off and throw the stems away. That's fine and good. But what if you're lazy like me and don't want to spend that kind of time? You're going to get your knife, you're going to hold your parsley, and you're going to just kind of shave those leaves off. Even if a little stem goes in there, the stem is not bad for you, okay? It's good for you. Parsley is really good because it helps cleanse the liver. It also changes the palate, changes the flavor in your palate. So when you get that at a restaurant, I say this all the time, and it's on your dish, eat it after the meal. So now we don't want to leave the parsley on the board. We want to put the parsley in. Oh, actually, we're not going to chop it, are we? Actually, let me roughly chop it. Okay? But I don't want to leave a lot of parsley on the board. So I'm just rolling it. I rolled it up, and I'm just going to chop it once. I don't want to leave green on the board. It's okay if stems get in there. It's okay. I just don't want whole parsley pieces in the food processor, because that will make it a little more difficult to work with, okay? That'll make it a little more difficult to work with. Okay, I think I'm missing something, so let me think. We didn't do salt, did we? Olive oil, we're missing olive oil. We've got lemon juice, capers, olive oil, black pepper, and it doesn't call for salt. I should know better. Olives and capers are already very, very salty, so we are not adding salt to this dish. And 2 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. So let's get some olive oil in here, and guess what? If you put a little bit too much, it's not a problem. Add more parsley, add more pepper, add more something else. It's okay, but I personally don't think you can ever have too much olive oil. Okay, let's get this processed in our food processor. I'll be right back. All right, don't process it too much, okay? Because you don't want this to be super soupy, okay? This is perfect. I could have even made this a little chunkier. Even. Be careful with the blade that's in here with your spatula, because you could cut your spatula and then you're gonna end up having to throw it away because food will get stuck in the middle there. So if you can, take that very carefully. Always be conscientious when you've got something that's sharp in your hands. Always be conscientious, okay? I'm gonna set this right in the sink. There we go, so it doesn't hurt anybody. And we're gonna put the rest of the tapenade right in there. I'm pretty sure that middle burger is done. I'm pretty sure it's done. We're gonna have our sandwich really, really soon. Hold on. Get all of that nutritious goodness out of the bottom of that bowl there. Here we have it. There we have our beautiful olive tapenade. And how beautiful that is. I think it's beautiful, and it's okay to have bigger pieces of parsley, smaller pieces of parsley in there. You can eat this, dip vegetables in it. You can eat this with crackers, eat it on your tuna burger, which is what we're going to do now. I've got this wonderful, who is this? Canyon Bakehouse gluten-free hamburger buns. We want to be gluten-free because the gluten literally glues up your intestines and doesn't allow your body to absorb all of the vitamins and the minerals and the nutrition from food. Okay, so gluten-free is definitely the way to go. So I'm going to serve this on one of my beautiful little gluten-free buns. And if you wanted to put a slice of tomato, you can do that. I just put some pretty tomatoes on the side. If you wanted to put a little bit of arugula on the bottom of your bun, you could do that. And we're gonna see if that tuna burger is done. Remember with the tuna burgers, you're just trying to cook the egg in it. You're trying to cook the egg because the tuna, it's already cooked. If it's in the can, it's already cooked. We're almost done, not quite, almost there. That middle piece is almost there. Let's see who else needs to be flipped. Anybody else need to be flipped over here? Careful with these because they fall apart. They can fall apart easy if you are not handling them with a loving hand. Almost. We are almost done. The other ones don't need to be flipped just yet, but we will flip them in just a moment. And then we're going to top it with this wonderful olive tapenade, and we're going to have a wonderful tuna burger. And if you don't want to do the bread, just put the tuna burger right on top of your salad. It'll wilt the salad a little bit. Put the tapenade on top. Ooh, maybe a little goat cheese as well. And it would make a wonderful dinner for you and your family. All right, our middle burger is done, and we're going to take that out and we are going to plate it or put it right on top of that arugula. The other ones are going to cook a little bit. We're hungry. Let's eat. Let's eat the ones that are cooked, right? Or feed the starving children in your household as things are coming out. So here we have it. We're going to put a little bit, and it's okay. Children do like olives. Feed them to them. It's really good fat for you and for the children. So you can put it on top there, or you can just spread it over the bun over here. Okay? You can do either or. Again, put a little tomato slice if you want and top that off. And there we have it. Our tuna Dijon burger with that wonderful olive tapenade. How delicious is that? All right, our broccoli just came out of the oven. It is steaming hot. It's a baked broccoli with the pepitas. It's intoxicating. It's intoxicating. All of our tuna burger. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Let me show it to you. Let me plate this for you. And we are going to enjoy, I mean, this is a complete meal unto itself, I'll tell you, just the broccoli and the pepitas. And if, you know, if you didn't have the bun and you didn't fill up on the bun, you could just have that tuna burger over the broccoli. Oh, what a delight. What a delight. So there we have it. We have our tuna burger with the olive tapenade and our baked broccoli with the pepitas. I really hope that you had as much fun and has brought as much joy to you as it did to me in today's episode and today's class. Thank you so much for being here, and I wish you all a life of health, vibrancy, and freedom. And until next time, namaste. Bye for now, everyone. Bye for now.